back at the link and getting the win here?
Man, it feels awesome, man. Honestly, man, just leading up to this, man, it was hard not to think about this game, man. Since we knew we was playing here first and foremost. To be able to get this opportunity to play at a stadium like this, man, where me and Mike Vick called home for plenty of years, man, and just the things we accomplished on this field, man, it was surreal. So we had 7 games before this, or I think yes, we had 7 games before this, and every game it was hard to not think about this game. So I'm glad we're here, we're over with it, and we can move on. But I mean, it just shows today, man. Just the energy when I walked on the field, man. Smelling that grass, man, it just went through my veins. I just felt like I was about to play a game because that grass smelled very familiar.
What has this whole week been like leading up to tonight's game?
Man, it's been mind-boggling, man. Honestly, I'm big on preparation, and I know this was a short week. Having college guys prepare after we just played a tough battle game on Saturday down in Durham and a long bus ride, and then we come back and we only have 2 days of preparation, and just throughout the week, I just didn't feel like we had the best week of practice, and just expectations for this team is very high, and our standard we have is high as well too. And every day we go out in the field, we always try to maintain that standard. But I just didn't feel we had the best week of practice, and it kind of showed today. But it was just, it was great to still come out with a win.
Sean, what was the difference in the second half for you?
What was that moment like with Michael after the game and getting carried off the field, I guess?
Man, that moment, at the middle of the field with Michael, man, I truly look up to him. He's always been a big bro to me. Got a great relationship. I admired him growing up. Just all his accolades and what he was able to do. And then when he came here, man, it was just like a dream come true to be able to play with a quarterback like him. It was just his record doesn't show to the amount that he does, man. They played a hard-fought game today. They gave us a tough battle. And I'm just proud of them, man, both of us, man. We're in a position where we're inspiring and changing, young men's lives at HBCU, man. It don't get no better than that. So, with the wins and losses, we all want to win. We put so much work into winning, but, just that moment when you see your brother, man, you see how great he's doing, man. And I just, I can't say I feel bad for him, but I just hope that it translates to wins for him because he deserves it.
What was the difference in the second half, DeSean?
Leading up to this week, and how did you like the response?
My primary message is honestly, man, keep the main thing the main thing. I feel like we allowed the lights and the big stage to kind of get us out of our game and take our focus off a little bit. The first half, we wasn't ourselves. Obviously, the second half, we came out. We were stopped on that first drive. When I always preach when we get the ball coming out of the second half, we got to score. We didn't score. So, just really just keeping the main thing, and just not allowing this big atmosphere to be too big for us.
Kate Bennett was out for a little bit in the first and second half. When he came back in the fourth quarter or in the second half, the offense moved again.
Yeah.
Got the big touchdown pass. Seemed like the offense got moving in that second half.
I mean, it was unfortunate, man. KB's been dealing with a few injuries, multiple injuries, and he's a tough kid, man, hard fought, battle kid. He gives us a chance to win every time he's out on the field. So he came in the locker room, he was dealing with some things, and it was bothering him pretty bad. So it was good to get him to, push through it. I asked him, I was like, KB, are you good? And he was like, nah, coach, I'm not good, but I felt this last week as well too. So it just shows the character, how hard he wants to win, man. And that dude is different, man. It was great to get him back to come out, put some plays up there and make some big ones.
Why did you choose the HBCU to start your coaching career?
And that was the opportunity to present myself, honestly. For me, growing up, my parents or my dad went to HBCU, DeSean Cookman, and just when I was playing, I never, during that time, I guess I was too big of a player to, get looks from HBCUs or for me to look at HBCUs. So this opportunity came, and for me, I just said I can't really pass this opportunity up for me to want to inspire and change young kids' lives. I had to take this opportunity.
DeSean, you're now the winningest Delaware State team in 13 years. What does that mean to you, and how does that bode well for the next big games you have in the next few weeks?
Man, it's an honor, but we still haven't done anything yet. And our goal is, it still remains the same. We'll continue to put the work in. It just really contests and it matters to the work these guys are putting in every day on a daily basis. I challenge these guys every time. It's different, and I say this culture is different because they're embracing it, right? They're accepting the standards, and they're pushing to the limit, right? And they're challenging themselves, and they're coming together. They're trusting the process, and they're believing it. So it's an honor, but we still haven't did anything. We got 3 more conference games, and you know our goal is to go undefeated, and hopefully we can make it to our destination.
With you guys being former teammates, what's something that you saw about Coach Vick as a person that you still saw on that sideline today?
Always calm, collected, man, and the moment's never too big for him. Like I said, the wins and losses, 1-7 before tonight, 1-8 now, it doesn't amount to the good he does for that university, and just inspiring these young men's lives. So, like I said, man, I hope it translates over for him for the victories. Obviously not tonight. I didn't want him to get a win, but he'll keep doing a great job. He's a great mentor. He inspires young men.
Coach, how do you feel like today's game changed the way that people view other cultures and other communities view HBCU football?
I mean, you seen it, man. Philadelphia showed up. I mean, wherever people was from, whether it was Virginia, Delaware, Philadelphia, New York, Baltimore, wherever people came from today, man, you seen it. They showed up and showed out. And it was a great turnout. Man, that's what the culture is for. It was meant for. We came here. I had the opportunity to reach out to Jeffrey Lord, Frank, Tony Allen, Tony Tucker, Temessus Carmen. We had so many variables that was included into this game, and it wouldn't have been able to be possible if everybody didn't play their part. Yeah, I initiated it, but it still had to go through so many hoops for us to make this happen today. So it just shows, man, hopefully more players, retired players that can get in the position and get the opportunity to coach, because I feel like we got a great insight on the game as we played, and we know what it's like to go out there and go to battle.
Hey, DeSean, in your wildest dreams, you had so many great moments here as a player.
Right.
Would you ever imagine that one day you'd be facing how big you look at the
I could have never, I would have never envisioned this. I could have never imagined it. I could have never predicted it. It just shows you how well God works, man. God is a great person that puts things into aspect. Life. All our lives, and I say this all the time to our players, man. It's written. Regardless of who we got, the story's written. We just got to go out there and do our work, man. That's God's work.
To build on that, you were a polarizing figure in Philly. How important was this game that it was highlighted around your team versus you? Going into this game, it feels like you and Vic were the highlight. However, how important was it that this team was highlighted?
I've said it all week, man. It's bigger than me and Michael Vick. Obviously, we're the icons, and it's the HBC legendary game, but it's bigger than us, man. We're just in a position where we're called to do what we're calling right now. We're doing our calling. So, like I said, I just really hope it changed the dynamic of, players that played at a high level. It's not an ordinary player, original. You got to be a lead in a certain way. And, it just shows transition right from a player. Because every person that plays at a high level can't necessarily coach at a high level. So, I just really hope people would take a second look at, people that play or athletes that play and just say, you know what, man, we probably should give them a chance, because what's different from somebody that's never coached and you give him an opportunity from somebody that's played and don't get the opportunity. So that's kind of where I want to see it at, man. I think a lot of more guys, when they retire, they need to, get into coaching, because, man, just to be able to have your own, university organization to be ran, like everything, when you look at it from a perspective of I got my finger on it. And I just think it's a cool thing, man, to be able to be in that position. I tell my players all the time, and I wish you guys would get an opportunity to see what it feels like to be a head coach. It's a lot of stress, though. I got a few gray hairs, but it's fun too, though.
What would you like to make that transition, though? In sports, like, for example, Ted Williams was a great player, wasn't a great manager. And what's the difficulty, what's the adjustment you have to make as a player to be a coach?
That's a great question. I think for me, man, is, I've been coached by some greats. If you look at, Andy Reid all the time, he was like a second father figure to me. Sean McVay, Coach Prime as well too. That they just inspired me, man. They mentor me. And not only that, man. It's like when I played all these years, the coaches I respected the most is the coaches that I could relate to, that they understood me. I came from LA. I came from rough areas, and I had a lot of distractions in my career, off the field, temptations, entourages. You know what I'm saying? But in order for a coach, or in order for a player to respect the coach, that coach got to understand that young man. And I just feel like all I did was put pieces and pieces together, from all the coaches that I respected, that I played for, and now this is what you get from Coach James.
Do you want to make this a yearly event?
HBCU football, right? And I love how you highlight when you talk about the opportunities and that the stage is bigger and what it really should be when it comes to media exposure.
Right.
And you talk about the culture when you stepped on, going from, Oregon and being at an HBCU, just the culture, because I think there's this narrative about the culture of an HBCU. Can you share your perspective and what that means to you?
The culture was huge, man. I think since day one, man, it's been a culture shock. And that was my challenge to these young men. Just looking back 2 years in a row, they was 1-11. They was in some tough games last year, and in 6 games, they was up in the fourth quarter, and they ended up losing those games. So when you look at that type of, play, you break it down as a player that played at a high level. It's like you see that you're conditioning, you undisciplined. I mean, it's certain things. So it was easy for me to identify and know this what you guys need to change. This what you guys need to address. And for me, getting the right players in, right, being able to embrace the culture, embrace the standard. No one's exempt, regardless of how high the standard is. Everybody got to be on that page, right? And for me, I just kind of, it was like I just gave them the rules, and this is my expectations. And to a man, everybody has to be held to that standard. And like as a lady, you see them embracing it. Early on, it was difficult. Discipline was a big factor. Our penalties was a big factor. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Like we were shooting ourselves in the foot. Like you go back and watch our games. As a lady, you've seen these guys are cleaned up, and it's still a challenge, man. Every day it's still a challenge with some of these dudes, man, because they knuckleheads. They like me.
Do you want to make this a yearly event? Have this game here at Lincoln Financial Field every year?
I mean, hopefully, I feel like, and even talking to, Mike Vick, with my initiating me kind of starting it, I feel like some way, somehow, I should always kind of be front runner. But even though we switch, because, he'll probably be the home team, but, and I'm not even big on getting the credit, because at the end of the day, God, he'll always award people when, they do well. And for me, I definitely do hope we continue to come back here and play in a great environment like this, man. It could have never, it was crazy, man, because leading up to it, I'm like, it's about to rain. People ain't going to want to come sit in the rain. And God bless us, man. It was a good game, man.
Coach, throughout your football career, I know you've coached, you've played a ton, you've had amazing moments. Where does this rank in terms of those moments, in terms of those games in Bright Lights for you?
Yeah, it's pretty up there. To be able to coach, I just think my culture, man, and my energy is really, kind of rubbing off on these young men. Man, all these dudes see me play. When they found out I was going to be a coach here, a lot of these guys were going to get in the portal. Some came back, some ended up leaving. But man, just the impact that you see in these guys' eyes when they're embracing the coaching and the standard is just like, for me, it feels like all the information I got over all those years, like I would be selfish not to pour back into these young men and help change their life. So for me, it's fulfilling. I still want y'all to understand it is a challenge. Like no one's perfect, right? You gotta, some of these young men obviously could be at a bigger university or bigger places, but it's challenging because they're mental or they're coming from places where they don't have the support, financially. It's just a lot of variables to play a part in. For me, I just want to uplift. I'm always about uplifting and just passing down knowledge to them.
Aside from winning and being carried in the air celebrating, was there a moment today where you realized, yeah, this is the reason why I came to an HBCU to coach?
I really just really seeing the impact that you have over a community. As a culture shock, you talk about a culture change, like it's implementing a lot of young men's lives. Like one of my players before the game, Marquise Gillis, told me, he was like, Coach, man, it's bigger than everybody involved. Like he said, man, this is like my kids. Like it's gonna go down, man. This is the first time in history 2 players of the magnitude of me and Michael Vick, who were former teammates that played at this, for this organization, and played versus each other in their first year of coaching. So, man, history writes itself. I told my players, man, write history how you want to be written. Tonight, we wrote history.
Slab first. Can we talk about, a lot of people may not know what slab first means? Naeem in Washington, man, Marquise Gillis, James Jones, Quentin Portis, just talk about them too, and Russian. Just talk about the offense and how they were able to piece it together week in, week out.
I think the slide first is the mentality. A lot of these offenses have names, the West Coast offense, all these terminologies you have, right? Slide first, just like it was a fast pace. We attack the ball, we get the defense off guard. It's like multiple variables in one play, like it's pass, run, option, quarterback run. Like it's just a lot of different plays that you usually normally don't have. And it's a lot because your quarterback got to make a read. If a certain player is in the box or he's not in the box, like he has to adjust and make that adjust on the go. So, you got to have an intelligent quarterback to do that. And the freedom we're allowing our players to have is second to none. So it's just the trust we have in our players.
What's the trash talk gonna be like now that you got the victory over Vic?
Hey, man, I got a post ready to go, man. Where my Instagram at? It's coming out. I got it ain't even really big. It's his brother, man. Marcus posted something a long time ago. Said he was gonna beat us by 70. I couldn't wait. I was been holding this. I ain't no reactor, but I gotta react to this.
Last question for Coach.
Mike said that the hardest thing for him, he spent his whole career being able to do something. He can do it. As a coach, you got it now. You just.
Yeah, it's definitely challenging. It's definitely challenging. It's tough. I get riled up before these games, and it's crazy. I didn't even think coaching. I'm like, all right, it's just gonna be another day. Man, the day of the game, I be antsy. I be like, Jerry, like I'm finna go play a game, and I'm like, man, I look up, like, man, I can't even go like impact the game. But I mean, from a mental aspect, you can. You just can't do it from a physical aspect. And I tell my players all the time, I said, boy, y'all lucky y'all wasn't on the field with y'all, man, because I would have, boy, HBC would have had a problem if I went to HBC. And there's no disrespect to the game because I respect it at a high level, but I just be looking at something. I'm like, man, boy, y'all couldn't hold my jock strap. Appreciate y'all coming out though, man. Thank you.